So, the final of this year's Eurovision Song Contest will be held in Malmö on Saturday, May 18th. And even though the lineup is very weak, the weakest for years, I for one am still looking forward to it enormously. I think it's going to be so much fun. Just because the show is always fun, and most of all to see what the Swedes have done, because they will have hopefully scaled it down. Really scaled it down, not just talked about scaling it down like we did and really made a pretty big thing out of it anyway, but really tried to bring it back to where it's about the music and not about how big and expensive you can make it. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the 6 songs that are already in the final, the big 5, and our gracious host, Sweden. One thing that I'm going to be coming back to several times, and first I have to say these are just my opinions. I'm not a professional reviewer. These are just my thoughts. So if I diss your country's song, it's nothing to do with your country. It's just about the song. One thing that is kind of my pet peeve about the contest is that it's supposed to be so great to be one of the big 5, but it really is not. And I think like every song in the big 5 this year is going to suffer from being one of the big 5. It's just, if I was one of these countries, the decision maker in one of these countries, I would seriously request to be withdrawn from my status, because it's not helping them. Being heard twice, that is what helps. All of these songs are only heard once by the vast majority of the audience. It is not to their advantage. I don't get why that's supposed to be a good thing. The first of the big 5 this year to go on stage is France. And their song, they're singing in French, as they usually do, which I like. The title of their song is, in English, Hell and Me. Which I love. I dig the title. And I love the singer's little flame dress. That's a real flame dress. I hope she wears that dress. I love it. It's really cool. And I really like the singer too. Her voice has a lot of character, and I love the way she performs it. Just the entry as a whole, it's jazzy. It's just really cool. It's not very accessible, and it would definitely benefit from being heard more than once, but it is an excellent entry. And yeah, knock on wood for France this year. They really deserve to do well. But again, being heard once is not to their advantage. And it may be a little bit too weird. It may not appeal to the young enough. Then there's Germany. A song that I would have loved if it had not been such a blatant ripoff of last year's winner, Euphoria. The singer's pretty, she's sexy, she has a good voice. I don't like her outfit. Her outfit's tacky, but they can easily change that. But the problem is the song. It's a beautiful melody, it's very catchy, it's inspiring, but we've all heard it before. We heard it last year in Baku. They have totally ripped off Euphoria. It's almost the same chorus. I don't understand why they're doing it, because all experience shows that whatever won last year is something that the audiences will not want this year. You know, in 2009, we won with our fiddle player. In 2010, if you had a fiddle, forget it. So, I don't know why they're doing it. And I think the audience may end up punishing them for that. I like the song, but I wouldn't dream of voting for it. It's a ripoff. Sorry, Germany. Try some originality. And then there's Italy. They're disappointing just because of the song itself, I'm sorry to say. Italy's been back in the contest only for a couple of years now, and I was so happy to see them back, and they came back with a bang, basically, with a fantastic entry that almost won. And it was so cool to see them like that, just totally showing us all off. And last year, their song was my favorite. I love that song. I still listen to it all the time, and I expected great things from them. But nah, no. This is just totally bland. The singer, he's beautiful. He has a pretty good voice. And the entry, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But there's also nothing special to it. There's no hook to it. The melody is quite pretty, but it's not something you remember. As soon as he stops singing, you've already forgotten it. And I was expecting something more original and something more memorable from Italy, unfortunately. From Spain, I wasn't expecting that, and I didn't get it, so good thing I wasn't expecting it. It opens very folk music-y. But pretty soon becomes much more a standard pop song. It's a totally bland entry. There's nothing memorable to it. Singer's fine, melody's fine, but there's nothing special to it. And when we hear it only once, then it'll go nowhere. I'm sorry, Spain. You can do so much better, I'm sure. Finally, the United Kingdom is the last of the big five to take the stage, and I just have to warn you that you cannot take my opinion that seriously about this, because I really dig Bonnie Tyler. I really like Bonnie Tyler. I think she's fantastic. So everything I say about this song will be colored by the fact that I am very prejudiced in favor of this singer. I'm extremely biased in her favor. So I was thrilled, of course, to hear that the UK were sending her as their performer. About the song, I was disappointed the first time I heard it, because I had been hoping that they would have sent, they would have picked something like her more up-tempo, fast-paced songs, like Faster Than the Speed of Night or The World is Full of Married Men, one of those quick songs that she does so well. But they've chosen a ballad, and initially I was disappointed because I was hoping for something else. Nothing to do with the song, but I was hoping for something else. But the more I've heard the song, it's really grown on me. I like it a lot now. Every time I hear it, I like it more. But the problem is, they're one of the big five, so it's not going to have time to grow on people, because we're only going to get to hear it the once. This song, I'm afraid it may do very badly, even though it is a very good entry that deserves to do very well. But it's not going to have the chance to grow on people. If this was not from the big five, it would have done much better. And I'm afraid also that it's going to be kind of ruined by Bonnie's performance, because, let's face it, she's kind of old and kind of old-fashioned, and she's probably going to perform it in her trademark style, and that's something that people want to see something new, and just giving us as the audience a performance that we've already seen, all of us, 100 times before, that can ruin a good song's chances, unfortunately. Because we've seen it. We want something new. So I think she risks ruining it with her performance. But then again, I don't know what they're doing with it. They may be doing something great with it. So, fingers crossed. I'm definitely hoping for them to do well. I'm just not that optimistic. Finally, there is, of course, after all the big five and all the 20 songs that will get picked from the two semis, there is, of course, our host, Sweden. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how the Swedish song does, because their entry now was not the people's choice. The people picked another song, which this came second, and it was quite a long time. I was not certain which way it would go, but it did not go in this song's favor. However, because they have professional juries, not only in Sweden, but around Europe, helping them pick, that the initial song, the Swedish people's choice, was discarded, and this song was picked instead. And it'll be so interesting to see how they do, because the transvestite who performed their original choice, while I'm sure very talented and a charming young fellow, I don't think he would have done very well, because down east, they're not necessarily all that into boys who look like girls, for some reason. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do with this. I don't think they're going to do very well with this either. Again, one of these nondescript titles, a very bland song. The singer's cute, I guess. Not my type, but I guess if you're a 14-year-old girl, he's cute. His voice is okay. The melody's okay, but it's just totally standard. There is nothing really to make the song stand out. If they weren't the host, they could not be assured at all that they would even be in the final. So, fingers crossed for Sweden, because it's not nice when the host manages to bomb. And we know that, because we've been there. But well-deservedly so in our cases. Good luck to Sweden. But I'm not the world's biggest optimist, as you may have realized. Those 6 songs will definitely be in the final. And if I have to call it and give you some guesses about who else I think will be singing in the final, I have to say Denmark, definitely. Russia, Montenegro, Serbia, Belarus, Norway, Azerbaijan, Greece. Those are really the only ones I feel sure about. This feeble lineup just has me thrown. No very weak songs and no very strong songs, so it's very hard to call. I'm going to be making another review after the fact, talking a little bit about what I think of the whole thing. So we'll see how I did, if I managed to guess it correctly. But fingers crossed for Finland. I know they won't win, but it's a fun entry, and I definitely hope to at least be seeing them on Saturday.